Hello everyone and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Kate, Felicia, Nick and Corinne with their adventures in Illyria. Don't forget that you can help or indeed hinder using your channel points in the game. Check out the options in the chat bar. You can also join the chaos by clicking the Discord link below or vote towards the session twist by becoming a subscriber. So let's rejoin the players as they play episode 70 of the Benefactor. Hello, everyone, and how are you all?
Hello. We're all right.
Yeah.
We're all good. So far.
Whoop.
We can't
So
see
Kate,
Felicia
that is
today.
one old piece of art of glory. Why aren't you using a newer one?
Because that was the
that's
first
probably
one
the
I
one to go
spotted,
for.
and I just threw it in. I'll see if I can replace it with a newer one.
There.
We won't be able to see Felicia today because she is currently away from home and hasn't got the webcam and stuff to be able to do what she wants to do. We're also on Discord today, so we're keeping it simple. We haven't got any Roll20, thankfully. There isn't any planned encounters, put it that way. And so we're going to be hopefully okay because we're not got too much loaded onto our Discords. So, previously on the Benefactor, you guys had a touching moment where Cora went back to her family and started with a process of changing their lives, I guess. Before she just was dropping off money and the occasional gift, but she sent farewell barebones with not just money, but the means to have a new life, to start a new business, perhaps. And we'll see eventually where that goes. But then after that, they went to Renata Green for a bit of a showdown, speaking to her about her uses of chronomancy, her denial of free agency, and a heated conversation was had. That's where we're going to start, where you finished off last session. So you are surrounded by tomes of knowledge and the trappings of this, what you now know to be ancient being. Ancient by many standards, even the elves. You can finish off anything you'd like with Renata. You have an invitation, but it's not compulsory. All joking aside from last session, if you don't go to the Duke's thing, it's fine. The day is yours. What would you like to do?
I guess. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. John Hon, I can pronounce your name. Kid John. Oh, thank you Jonathan. Tack Jonathan för att du följer oss. Tack så jättemycket. It's Felicia's little brother.
Summer
Why?
child.
Oh, okay. Julio.
Yeah. That's why I spoke Swedish.
It's just like, I'm going to speak Swedish to you. Cool.
Yeah.
Because we know who it is. That's fine.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's continue. We were having a lovely discussion with Renata regarding our contract and what we need to do, and about the tentacle Duke's son.
Yes, we were gonna find out, or we're gonna figure. We were getting some information, what information Renata had on the tentacle Duke, and if we wanted to do anything about it.
Well, I think we came to the conclusion that, yeah, we're willing to help her out if she is willing to be honest with us, which she has been.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we have a pretty good idea of where he could potentially be.
But she's scryed and didn't see him, and she can tell the future and doesn't know where he is. So I'm a little confused about how we're meant to find him if this person cannot.
Because the magical means are not working, and we're gonna work on conventional means, which is less good at.
Yeah. Did you say, Glory? Did you just say that we thought that we knew where he would be? We had a good lead.
What was the lead we had, Simon? Can you remind us?
Yeah.
What kind of lead are you talking about?
We're trying to figure out. Did we know where he was?
No, we only know that he disappeared roughly about 3 weeks ago. That's all we.
No, it was.
No, that's all we
Wasn't
know.
it before
So we
3
don't
weeks
have
ago?
anything. It's just
He's
Oh,
not
no.
been seen in 3 weeks, according to my notes.
I thought
I
he
think
hadn't been seen since
we lost our
before the fight.
memories. Yeah, so since we lost our memories, is that he hasn't been seen. So it's
Which
about
is
a month and a bit.
over a month. Right?
Yeah.
Renata hasn't seen him in 3 weeks. A lot
Yeah.
of other people haven't seen him for well over a month.
Okay.
Because he wasn't at the ceremony that was over a month ago. We didn't see him there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she says she has. So where did she see him last? Is a question have we asked that question?
Yeah. When did you see him last? When did you see him last, Renata?
On a ship. Just a sloop. I got a glimpse of it before my sight of him was ripped away again.
Okay, so you didn't see him in person. You saw him while
Describe.
flying.
I saw him. I wasn't.
Did he seem to be alone? Has he taken a boat and gone off alone?
He was
From your impression.
No, I think he went off with some crew. He wouldn't be able to do a sloop on his own. A skiff maybe, but not a sloop. A sloop is too large a vessel. When I saw him, he was looking a little pale, and he was reading a kind of a sickly yellow-covered book.
Any idea what? Did you see the name of the ship? Did you see what type of ship? Did you think it's connected to Jackalman or the Seven Sails?
I don't know a great deal about ships. I confess, I haven't used them in. Let's just say the last ship that I travelled on was considerably older than the designs that you see in the harbour. Yes, I recognised it as a sloop. Big weird sail. That's about it.
Right. Well, as I said, I am quite good at finding people, so I'll see if we can launch a bit of an investigation, because it might be good to find him and see what he's up to, and potentially stop him if he's doing anything dangerous, because I'm concerned.
I'm sure you'll make the right decision.
You're right, Farewell. You're right,
Yeah.
Farewell.
Oh, Phil.
Yeah, I'll be alright.
What?
But yes,
She
I
just said. Sorry, can I insert check that last comment? She said, I think you'll. No, Renata. She said something like, I think you'll make the right decision. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you'll make the
She
right
said,
decision.
I'm sure you'll make the right decision.
Right, and I want to know what the fuck that means. What the fuck does that mean?
Automatic pass. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else to read into it. She just said, "I'm sure you'll."
That does,
make
but
the
that,
right
but
decision.
there was no decision to make, so that doesn't make any
No,
sense.
she
So
meant
I'm
when I
constantly
said-
airing. I'm just I'm trying to read her. Just
She said it in response to me saying when we find him to see what we can do, get him back, or potentially stop him if he's doing anything dangerous.
oh,
Like,
okay. So maybe still,
And
Scora's
her
still
answer to
like,
that was, "I'm sure you'll make the right decision."
Yeah.
because she knows. Because how do you deal with someone who knows time? It's just, Sorry, that's Kate. Right, carry on. Cora's
yes.
getting paranoid. Shut up, minion. Of course I am.
Yes. I think it's a good idea starting by at least me and Glory, or at least Glory, going to the Duke's ceremony, because we might be able to question the Duke, and I have some I could potentially get into his room and see if I can find any clues in there.
I'm sure if you ask the Duke, telling him that You're looking for Tristane, the Duke would
Tentacle
allow
boy.
this.
Yes, to say,
Uh,
not tentacle boy.
Yeah. When you refer to Tristane at Tentacle Boy, you do see Renata stiffen. She says, "Be kind in the subject to the Duke. Criticize him on anything else, but he does love his son. And well, at the moment, as far as he's concerned, Tristane is just off on one of his rebellious outings. Until I can prove otherwise, I have not corrected the Duke on this, but I do have my concerns."
To a certain degree, he's not wrong.
Right.
The last time he was off on one of his rebellious adventures was when we found him in the sewer talking to tentacles. So, in a way, I expect this is a very similar thing.
Just so.
I look at Farewell. I'm trying to figure out what he wants to do.
He's still pretty much just staring holes through Renata. And wonderfully, because he is a water genasi, he can do that weird thing where he doesn't have to blink for a very long period of time. So there's
Water
this
comes
really
out of the
just
eyes.
creepy moments where he's just like unblinking and just like focused. And because he's got these very sort of like aquatic eyes, they're just very thin slits that are just pinpoint in one direction. And he's just.
Do you have those eyes where you like have eyelids going that way as well, and not just from top but from the sides? You can't hear you.
Muted!
Sorry, that's because I pushed the talk on and took my finger off the button. No, he's not a Triton. He's only got one set of eyelids, but it's one of those weird things where his leans a little bit more towards the Triton than say more traditional primordials would be. So yeah, he's sort of at the moment not very sort of communicative, but is pretty done. You can tell from his face he's pretty done.
You can tell that Renata is not even attempting to engage in your stare. I don't think you expect her to. And as you're staring at her, you do notice that she's kind of looking up, making herself available because you're still in her office. But you do notice that her left hand is idly scritching away at a notepad, and she seems to be drawing arcane symbols. And then she makes a correction and kind of scratches one out and corrects it by the side. And it seems to be that she's making some sort of array of arcane symbols.
Are we done here? I look at the group.
I hope so.
For now. Let's go.
One thing, what was the location you last saw him? Was it just at the city docks, or was it any other dock?
I regret he was at sea.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I didn't have enough time to be able to get hold of a map and scry on the map. You know that there's a form of scrying where if you've got a lock on someone, you can throw some sand onto a map, and the sand will just kind of coalesce as to where it is. It's kind of cool.
Okay, thank
Damn
you.
wizards and their showy offy stuff.
I will
you gotta do it.
see if I can find any more information about it.
If anything, the dinner should prove interesting.
How many hours have we got until the dinner, by the way, Simon?
I'm going to go with 4.
Okay. I'm gonna wait until we're outside the building before I say anything. So if there's anything you guys want to do whilst we're still in the building or anything, let me know.
One thing.
No, that's pretty much it for me.
When this all started with Tristane, he had gone off on a boat alone and was washed up. weeks, days, something later.
Indeed.
How long ago was this again? I'm looking at Renata, obviously.
Years by the estimation I got.
Okay.
Are you talking about his first interaction with the
Yes.
Katoa?
Absolutely.
Only recently learned of that myself. As I say, I try not to pry when it's not welcome. And from what I could tell, he was returned back the same day.
Okay. And who found him?
One of the priests, one of the Katoan priests. And instead of choosing meat for him, they were taken in by his adventurous spirit, going out on choppy seas on his own. They didn't see him as a threat. He bore no weapon. So yes, they were quite happy to save him because they just seemed to approve of him. There just seemed to be something about him that...
Is she talking about someone that we know? She's talking about. Are you talking about Okatoa? Are you using the word Okatoa as well?
No, not. No,
You said
not.
Not Ukuto. Not.
I thought you were
no,
saying.
No.
Okay.
Ukatoa from Critical Role is Critical Role only. That doesn't.
That's what I
exist anywhere
thought.
else.
That's why I was getting confused because
Yeah.
I thought I was hearing
No.
the same thing. So I missed.
No.
I got confused about what you just.
Kutoa are
Which one?
yeah.
What's it called?
Kutoa are the fish people.
Kutoa.
Kutoa.
Okay.
Or Kutoa.
And they
Yeah,
and
it's-
sorry and so we those are
and
the
I
guys
said
we
the
saw in the
Kutoan
sewer.
priest in the...
Okay, but they were the guys that we met in the sewers when we came across him, right? And is that where we know that they are based, or are these based somewhere else? I'm getting confused as to whether or not he was found in the city by these people, or if we're talking about some island somewhere where they go worship this guy, this thing.
I'll give you a reminder that when Tristane told it, he said that he went out on a skiff from the harbour. He only made it about a nautical mile or so off coast before he got thrown into the waves. When he woke up, he was in the sewers, and the Katoa were next to him, and one of the priests had cast a spell by which he was able to speak and understand Common. And at that point, they pointed out to him that they had saved his life and that he was in their debt.
Okay, so it is the guys from the sewers. So, because I'm basically trying to work out who we maybe could go and talk to, who would be able to have information about where he potentially went, and therefore who he talked to / made a deal with, etc. So we kind of have that information. It's the people in the sewers that we already avoided fighting. Or I think we avoided fighting them. Good.
Yes,
Just
you
checking. Sorry if that was a Kate detour of going. What's going on again? It was
it'd
a
be
while
important.
ago.
Yeah,
That.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Good.
Yeah, I think that was in the 20s or something.
I mean, it was
So
pretty. Yeah, it was like we had only just joined, and then we just got like the sun had gone missing. Go to the sun. Yeah, it was feels like ages and ages ago, like really early on.
It was a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
lost into it.
Okay. Well, if you're going to a dinner and we maybe are going to investigate and talk to people or something ourselves, then we should probably take our leave.
Do contact me if you need anything.
Well, if you end up scrying and finding him, do let us know too, because that would be useful. You are indeed more powerful than us, so maybe keep trying. I walk away.
Power is a fickle thing. I'm capable of things, you're capable of things. I try not to think of it in terms of magnitude.
That's probably for the best. I kind of hook my arm around Farewell's, trying to sort of like break his stare and deadlock.
Yeah, he'll be. If you go to leave the room, he'll come with.
I figured he
blink.
probably would, but it's more. It's okay. We're done here. Let's go.
He celebrates with a blink. Yes.
Yeah. And then goes, see, I won that contest.
I won!
Blinking contest. You blinked. Okay. Right. So you're off to a party. I'm intrigued about the Duke, but I feel like maybe the two of you are good enough, and we can make our excuses and do something more useful, or at least not more useful, but equally useful, without sitting and dining. Is that okay?
I mean, that
Glory?
depends if the players want to sit there and do nothing for like an hour. But yes.
There's always cut scenes. You can cut between scenes. But
There's-
what are you thinking? You changing your mind?
Not necessarily, but I want some more information first. And I think I know who I need to go talk to find it. Follow me. And I walk back to the same shop that I went to with the tailor who had the magical knitting needles, whose name, for some reason, I forgot to write down. And I'm not quite sure why I didn't do that.
Sable
Sorry?
Makoa. Sable Makoa, adornments for the discerning gentleman.
He's in the book. Back where he should be. I left a nice gap as well for like a name, which obviously meant that I was supposed to circle around and ask you about it, but quite clearly I just went, oh, well, you know, sleep is more important. Other things are more important. So yeah, I just start walking in that direction quite purposefully, and because obviously Farewell's quite tall as well, he takes those great big long strides, so he's actually sort of getting quite a pace.
Cora's pretty used to being having to keep up with people, so she has a kind of like little walk jog that she does.
Eclipse will feel bad for Cora and offer to carry her for a bit, like on the shoulders.
I think she probably won't for a long time because she's like too proud, and then she's like, actually that could be kind of cool, so she jumps up.
Okay, so as you walk through the city, I have done some stuff with Excel. You pass by the following known people. So you get waved at by Sturgill Dawnrunner, the Pelor High Priest, who seems to make quite a show of recognizing you and waving at you. You also walk past Bonnie Frostfang, who is a bailiff who works for the Green Organization. And finally, you walk past Elunid Carissa. That is the head of the Magi Domestica, the woman who you saw Noki speaking to in the Siege of Ostergold.
Wasn't that the woman he was snogging? Was that the?
Yes,
yes.
Yeah. Also, Noki's, I guess, friend with benefit is probably the closest I can give you on that. Yes, Elunid kind of gives you a very kind of modest shrug, kind of nod as she goes past. She seems to have this automatic fashion of being able to bow her head, and her hair kind of comes around her face. She's actually quite powerful. You've seen some of the stuff that the Magi Domestica can do, and she's the head of them in Ostergold. But she's not exactly. She's not as a big speaker. She doesn't like. She's a bit of a nervous type. And so if any of those are of interest, those are the people you pass. And you find yourself outside Sable Makoa, adornments for the discerning gentleman.
I thought you didn't want to go to this dinner.
I don't. But this guy is more than he appears. I believe you've already met one of his associates earlier today when we were in the bar. Your bardy friend.
Yeah, right. Okay. They're
One of
everywhere then,
those.
huh?
Yeah, they've obviously got a large network, but the one thing about being sort of an end of the world, sort of doomsday watching people, is you tend to have an awful lot of knowledge about things that could potentially cause ends of the world, including items that can summon an undead army at the user's will, and even stories of places where, that could happen, or what you would need to do it, or, that sort of thing. And, I figured it's as good a place to start as any, even if they don't know the reason. And yeah, I'm glad you're here because he's a little weird, and those needle things that he has is just make my skin crawl.
Glory's type?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Glory's type of person.
To be honest with you, I
Debatable.
actually think he's rather tame for Glory. I think his fashion style is a lot more conventional. I'm trying to say that in the nicest way possible. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he could go all out if you really wanted him to, but I mean, he, as far as I could tell, he's not the type to have designed stuff that growls when you walk or is a living.
That's just
suit.
couture.
I don't know
Well,
what that word is.
Have you know,
darling.
fashion and couture are different, and it depends on the occasion. And a growling suit was perfect for that day.
Right. I don't think I agree with you there, Glory, but sure.
Yeah, but I figured if anything, he might be somebody that we can ask for some information. As the prince is a nice guy. Well, the Duke's son, he's not really a prince. But, I'm more worried about an item that can summon a controllable army of the dead. That's not really something we should be living in.
Yes.
That kind of bloodline's hands. Especially one that may have made deal with eldritch abominations.
Yeah, well, considering his father loves his wars as well, I think I don't know how he'd feel about an undead army, but an army seems to do things for him, so, probably best not to give him that opportunity.
Yes, let's not give him some extra toys.
Exactly. So that's more of my concern. And if we can stop the kid from going down a path that would require him to be melted into a puddle of goo, that would help.
Possible deniability is always a good thing to have.
We're gonna, okay, so,
Don't melt him.
yes, please, well, don't melt anybody at the moment, but...
Farewell, sweetie. Have I ever melted anyone who we weren't supposed to fight?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Who?
You don't remember the three brothers in the tower?
But they were working with him.
They were also surrendering an innocent, and we still murdered them horribly.
Yeah.
to be. We're on the other side, so. As I said, no one who wasn't supposed to.
Yes. Let's not melt people, Glory. Only melt when we say so.
Just someone help me with the questions, please.
Yes, Sarah, we'll be more than happy to.
All here.
Thank you. And you see sort of Farewell like psych himself up like this is the worst place in the world. And he's just like and he pulls the handle, pushes the door and steps into the
As you step into what is a fairly typical highbrow gentleman's tailor, you can see that there are suits on mannequins, there are things on the peg, there's a wall which has just got swatches of material, and you can see that there are two of quite clearly the upper class of Ostergold standing there in their new suits, not quite sure if they're allowed to put their hands down yet. As Sable is kind of dancing around them, and he goes, "Filigree, gentlemen, filigree, please. I've seen the direction that that men's fashion are going into, browns and blacks and dark blues. Just a lesson in darkness and dirgery. I mean, really, filigree, gentlemen, highlights." Highlights are what we're talking about. Can a man not be sharp? Can a man not be defined? Can a man not have a little shine? Look, show it. Hands together, please. Please, hands together. Take a look. Take a look at the moment. Your cuff. It's a nothingness. It's a nothingness. It's just black and then your hand. You know? Okay, fine. Your noble hands. Yes, good stock. I can see both of you. But, gentlemen, if I may, he runs over to a spool of what seems to be silver thread, pulls at it, and it's more like silver wire. He goes, "But behold," and throws the end of the silver wire at them, and the silver wire, almost like a snake, lashes at their hands. He goes, "Hands still, gentlemen, hands still. We don't want to mess up the patterns now, do we? Do we? No, I don't think so. I don't think so." And you can just see this thing, and the two terrified young men are just there holding their hands out, kind of looking at each other to make sure that they are not the one that's looking the most scared. And when he's finished, you can see that this kind of silver filigree has now got this beautiful etched pattern along the garment and down the slit where the buttons are, because button cuffs.
I knew that would catch on outside Scholar sooner rather than later.
He snaps his fingers, the silver thread snaps off now that he's done with it, and he gestures at the spool, and the spool just goes and reels in the unused thread. Now, you'll notice that the cuffs are a little bit more firm, yes? Yes? It's good. It's good. Yeah. You're dancing, you're building up a sweat, your cuff normally sticks to you. Your entire arm becomes like a greenhouse, yes? So instead, you've got a stiff cuff, yes? A bit more air getting in there as you're dancing. Pumps like bellows, see? See? Practical, gentlemen, but you shine. Look, silver, it works. It works with your skin. Cold tones. If you had warm tones, it would be gold. Silver, nothing wrong with silver. Nothing wrong with silver. Anyway, try it. Try it tonight, and if you like, we can do more on the lapel, the collar, maybe the trim. Yes, see what we can do. Yeah, we can do some stuff with buttons as well. Right, you lucky boys, go out and knock 'em dead. And looks like I have new customers anyway. The bills will go to your houses, of course, so we won't deal with such mundane items here. Enjoy yourselves, gentlemen. And the two men looking at their now silvered wrists, kind of not sure if they like it or not, walk past you, Farewell. And Sable turns around and says, "Mr. Barebones, back already. Have I managed to convince you with my example that you would benefit from maybe something from my line?"
Yes, Farewell.
He looks horrified. There's a genuine sort of like moment of just like, you know, like of like flashbacks of like just growling suits and viney
Trees.
clothes, and for just a good sort of minute, Farewell is just caught in the horror, and there is absolute abject
well.
horror on his face.
There is
think
no better reason to come to a tailor than to get a new suit. Well, and on the tall.
Or we could adorn that armor. We could always put some pennants between the plates. You know, we'd quiet the plates
yes,
down.
the clothes is all very good and all, but I think we came here because, well, you said this man was part of the Lenora. You said.
There's a sneer from Dave as he goes, "I am not part of that bunch of conspiracy nuts. I am an artist. I will have you know." I apologize.
Right.
I should not be so offended,
Sorry.
but I have been at the ill-receiving end of their paranoid delusions.
Right.
Go
I'm
on,
sorry,
give me a
sir.
perception check. You've angered him. Give me a perception check.
Everybody do perception checks, because I'm
It's a
bad
dirty
at this.
20.
Ha, 6.
Dirty 20 from you, Nick. Yeah, you see his eyes go very slightly pink, as in not the white parts of his eyes, as in the pupils of his eyes go to a kind of a cherry pink, between pink and red, when he got angry. If they didn't glow, just the pigment changed. Anyway.
Actually, I'm corrected. It was not 6, it was 7.
With 7, you see as little as you did with 6. So
Very important.
yes, you see nothing more so. And he says, anyway, you came here with purpose, apparently. How can I help you?
I assume Farrell told us what questions he wanted to ask.
No. No. He told you everything on the wall that he said there.
Okay. Well, Farrell took us here because he wanted to speak to you.
Well, then
I'm
speak.
sorry.
Look,
Mr. Bare Bones.
yeah, yeah, I'm sorry about that thing that just happened. It wasn't supposed to have been said out loud or any connection out loud, because we would know better, wouldn't we? He
The
sort of very
Lone
lightly
Warriors guys.
taps.
No, they're not a secret organization. They
Would
are
just
good guys.
would just tap Eclipse on like the foot, because Farewell knows that he's a little bit sensitive about the whole thing, and his reaction clearly showed that. So he's like, "Stop it!
It's-
Stop it!"
It's quite all right.
You said this guy was a member.
It's quite all right. I should let bygones be bygones. They haven't bothered me during their trip here, and from what I can tell, they've left.
Well, I don't know about that. I think there may be one or two still hanging around, but really, what I wanted to ask you was, we're in the need to find someone that's more of a purveyor of very old, ancient relics, who would know things that they would know, and because of your connection to them without actually being a member, I figured that you would, being a discerning gentleman of, and that you would, basically, there's this chalice thing that can,
We are looking for we're looking for an item called the Corinne forgot the name.
Chalice
So
of the
has
Drowned.
Nick.
Chalice of the Drowned, yes. Because there's someone we think that are currently we're looking for this thing, so that's why we for the Chalice of the Drowned, and if we can find out what Chalice of the Drowned there, we're able to find this person we're looking for.
We believe the person that has it will mean well, as anybody that means well when they have these things, but you and I know what will happen if other parties find out about this, and I don't believe this individual is so far gone as which to deserve their unique brand of justice. And so I don't want to set them on the trail, but I also need their knowledge. And you're the only person that I know that's had dealings and would understand the uniqueness of this situation.
I would indeed, sir. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Quite the opportunity. Now let's see the Chalice of the Drowned. And suddenly his eyes, little flecks of glitter appear in his eyes. Just for a moment, he goes, that. Wow. I had no idea it was around here. Very well, then. Very well. Big player. Really. So, yes. Would the Lenori have a problem with this? In the right hands, it can certainly contribute to the changing of events. But the army, not exactly the greatest army ever. It's a bunch of wraiths and ghost spectres. Certainly a nuisance. Certainly a boon to any existing army. But on its own, world-ending? Not really.
No,
Lenori would be more interested in the being that grants it. Now that's going to be a bigger thing. You see, the Chalice of the Drowned was banished. You see, it was banished in a place where people thought that no one would ever be able to retrieve it. They threw it in the Kraken's lair.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. So
it all makes sense now.
If this gentleman has retrieved the Chalice of the Drowned, well, there's only two things that could have happened. Either he's somehow managed to, either through arcane means or through absolute amazing roguish skill, has managed to steal it from the Kraken. Can you imagine? I would be quite interested to find out which it was. Or, of course, the Kraken itself is an intelligent being. Not really my speed. He's a little, what can I say, Neanderthal in his terms. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like my elder beings to be somewhat feral, but I do like them to have a certain sharpness to them. The Kraken's a brute. He's just big. That's all he is.
He is big and he has many tentacles.
Yes. Well done. You must have read the Cliff Notes version of the Kraken. Yes, Kraken, large tentacles. That's correct. Yes. But yes, there are people in my former circles who did try to court the Kraken. The problem is that in order to supplicate yourself to the Kraken, you have to show a certain level of appeal to it, because the ritual involves creating a small portal that one of his tentacles can appear from, and if he doesn't like what you have to say, well, frankly, he does one of two things. He either crushes you and kills you on the spot, or even drags you into his domain. One or the other. So, yes.
By the way, Simon, as a point of flavor, can we tell what type of half-elf Sable is?
I already know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Farewell's aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's clear. I mean, he. Because what did I describe him as to you before Farewell? Kind of ash-skinned.
Ash-skinned, very touch of the Fae about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So-
Kind of slightly silvery hair. His eyes are a kind of purple, which
Yeah, so
makes
we can
him
tell
very,
he's
very
half
different.
drow. Yeah.
He looks very drow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've never seen an elf with kind of it's ash grey skin. It's charcoal grey. It's much darker than dove grey. It's like a charcoal grey skin with purple eyes, and you know that drow have either black or like a bluish skin with bright red eyes and shock white hair, whereas he has silver hair. So yeah, it's just that when he got angry, his eyes got changed colour in a very interesting way. So yes, so yes, the circles that I once moved in, there was a lot of people who tried to court it, many of whom I never saw again.
Yes. We think that the person we are looking for may have already courted the Kraken. So,
Really? A big player then? A big player indeed. Well,
If you were
you've
already
answered
in
my question.
possession of
If he
the
has
chalice-
courted the Kraken, and the Kraken has given the chalice, then clearly you're seeing one of the Kraken's champions here.
Do we know that
don't
he's...
know if he
Yeah.
has the chalice yet.
Yeah,
but yeah.
that might
no,
be...
well, he had a chalice. We saw that. We saw
Oh,
him
yeah.
get given one.
Oh, we saw him.
We
Oh,
don't-
did we
yeah,
see
when
that? Was that the
You
thing that we
gave the
saw?
description. When
Yeah,
you gave the
when he
description,
came out, he
Renata
got
showed you the
given
book
a
and pointed
rusty-
at it.
Yeah, and
Right,
when we
we know he
described
has
it and
it,
she
yeah.
pointed, so we
You
know,
he's got
he has it.
You're right,
Sable,
right.
do you know if there's anywhere specific somebody has to be to use this sort of item, or if there's any things that somebody would need to gather to use it? Like, some
Of
of
course,
my
yes.
stuff needs quite expensive and powerful reagents.
Yes, I mean something of this kind. I mean, raw power could be used to push through and get it to happen, but one would have to wield such power. And by the sounds of it, he's only just got the Kraken on his side. No, he would need to probably gather some very expensive components, and then go to a place that is sacred to the Kraken.
Which
Do
would
you
be
know-
in the sea. Shit.
Do you
Yep.
know any more than that? Do you know
No,
anyone
Do
who
you know
might
what
know
these
any
things
more
This
than
is a
that?
great. Amongst my old circles, this is what is known as a great work. If the capitalization isn't there, usually capitalized when written down, a great work is normally a supplication to prove to your sponsor that you are in some way a greater champion, and by that means you will gain more power. And although it sounds like it's a very, very specific thing, I mean, the chalice, that kind of gives you the army in the first place, and only for a short period of time. I mean, once the penance of the drowned is, and he kind of cocks his ear to almost like he's heard something. It's kind of a one-shot deal, unless he's attempting to achieve something very specific with that army. It's going to be over very quickly, a couple of hours.
Like throwing an army of undead through something very dangerous to get another item that you need, sort of one and done.
Well, I would see it normally as an act by somebody who's trying to climb. So, for example, you have artifact A. Artifact B is more powerful, but is guarded. You use artifact A to raise an army. They invade for artifact B, and you gain artifact B through using A. For example, I don't know. but
Simon?
that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Yes,
Simon,
Felicia?
Can I roll an Arcana check to see if I know of any artifacts that would be even greater than the chalice in like that type of thing?
Yeah,
In a
go for it.
nautical theme.
Well, a crackety eldritch abomination.
Yeah. Something like that.
Okay. Give me a roll.
That is a 22.
Out of 22, there's there's a number of artifacts that you know that would warrant that kind of thing. So, off the top of your head, there is the Staff of Oceans that would be more powerful. That's kind of the most powerful thing that you can think of with regard to a nautical theme. But it's known to be like a dormant staff, and it likes to just sit in wait. So somebody could be walking around with a staff and nobody'd know about it. What else do you know? There's things like the Tyrant's Crown, you know of, and that's a crown that's made of 5 different colored twisted pieces of metal. You know that one in particular because it's a Tiamat artifact. Sorry, I'm pulling up my notes.
Try and get. No.
So that's in the 9 hells, so...
I would hope he wasn't after that one, because then it would be very rude.
Yeah, you
no
know
one
that
who
is
isn't
in
a TM at the end should be using it.
And
you know that's in
guarantee
the,
that he's
the 5
evil.
house.
Would deserve smiting.
Well, that too. It's more the principle of the thing.
Are there any others that you might?
1 second, be right back.
There's just there are a lot of them. I can't actually find the thing that I'm looking for. But hang on, I can.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like,
here we
okay,
go.
he's using a really powerful artifact, and he would want to get something that is even more powerful than it. Probably something that isn't so situational. Something that he would have power for a longer period of time with, and not, like this guy said, an instant, a few hours at top.
It depends what you'd want. It depends on what, specifically what he wants. So at the moment, you know that he was trying to get hold of the chalice to save the town from city, save the city from demons. At the moment, the top 2, looking at it all, there are some fantastic legendary items out there. There's Sarshul, the animated dagger. There's Skyfang, the staff that contains the soul of the blue dragon. There's Tabitha's slippers, the wailing mirror. There's lots of different things out there. There's Isa, the Ice Valkyrie sword. There's lots of different things that you could find. But for the most part, the only one that you can really think of is the Staff of Oceans. And you personally know that if you were to go for any artifact at all, you would want the Tyrant's Crown.
Obviously, everyone should want the Tyrant's Crown, but
everyone
guys
bowing
going
to your
out to
every
sea
word.
has to deal with the Kraken. Yeah, I can see him going for the ocean staff. I wouldn't
You also-
personally recommend it, but that's another thing entirely.
Yeah. But you know that the Staff of Oceans, well, for one thing, he'd have to go to a different plane of existence because it's in the plane of elemental water.
Yeah, using it.
Oh, you just did all of those. Yep.
So yeah, there's lots of legendary items that he could go for, but specifically, all necromancers, for example, trying to find a way of having like their own undead army. There's other things like, for example, the Fey crowns, the crowns, the crown of the Summer King, the crown of the Winter Queen. Those would immediately gets you an army of Fae. Yeah. There's lots of things. Specifically, for the Kraken, the only thing that you've heard of, the only artifact that you've heard of, is the actual chalice itself. And the chalice doesn't actually belong to the Kraken. It was simply thrown into his lair in the hope it'd never come back out again.
Well, I will regale my friends with my thought process as I am going through each and every one of the magical items that I think of that are really powerful. And
Yeah,
I will
you're
keep
reeling
coming
off a
back to
ton
the
of them.
crown because I know that one is the best one of them all.
Yeah.
It's the best, it's the
found
prettiest
the-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the most
we get
evil.
it. You want the crown. We're not going to the Nine Hells.
Yes, we're not getting an evil crown. No.
And
it's not that
we're not going to the
bad.
Nine Hells.
It's a holy relic.
We're not going to the Nine Hells.
Yes, we're not going to the Nine Hells. We're not having a visit there.
It's a dreary place, really.
It's terrible.
Have you been?
Not personally, no.
That's
but
a personal question.
I'm very sorry
Yes,
there,
a bit personal there, Eclipse. You really need to work on your social cues.
Not personal. This is the question.
when
Can visit wherever you want.
when we talked about the scry earlier, was the failure due to blocking or planar? Does anyone remember?
Oh, blocking, not planar. He's on the same
Things you
plane of existence.
mentioned.
Well, you don't know
Renata
that
said
for
the
sure.
words, "It was ripped away from me."
He was.
Doesn't necessarily
Well,
mean
we
that
know that
it's
there are
true.
certain places out on the ocean where the reality is a bit shifty.
But
Oh, yeah,
he,
there's
he
several tears
specifically
between
said it
planes.
wasn't planar.
Yeah, but that doesn't
um,
mean he's not now left the plane.
Yeah.
Indeed. He could have entered a zone where
you-
scrying is hard and then a tear. I don't know,
we can
if he wants
guess,
to go the
or
water
Farvel
route, the
look what I can-
staff would be the best one, but still, I'm not quite sure what he wants since he already has the chalice.
Well, we can see if he's still on the same plane of existence, because Cora or Farvel can have a go on trying to scry for him.
Not today, I can't.
No, because I need to go ask my girl for permission, but Cora can.
Sure. I mean, we can try. Do we need to be here for this?
Can we borrow one of
I'm
your
looking at the
mirrors,
guys, thinking we're about to. We're not going to talk in front of this guy, are we? Sort of.
You can see that Sable has picked up a brooch, and he's picking up a gem. And as he puts the gem into the brooch, he just pinches with his fingers, and the little closures on the brooch, just like a wilting flower, cling on to the gem. And he looks at it and goes, "Delightful, delightful." He seems to be listening.
Yes, we do have some
we
time
saved that
before
idea
our
for back.
meeting. We need to get you a suit or not, Farewell, for the dinner tonight.
I have formal robes if I am going to go. It is not something I need to pick up. If I have to go, I'd rather go in my armor, but I know for a fact that you won't let me go in my armor.
Well, thankfully you got quick dressing armor, so you can have your armor in your pocket. Or in your bag.
No, it's still quite big. It comes on and off
Yeah.
quick, but it doesn't. It's not like Iron Man suit where it goes into a wrist. It's it is a bit like Iron Man armor in that when you pull it off, it neatly packs down, but it packs down into something the size of maybe like the breastplate.
Yeah, so you can have it in your bag of holding, but you can't.
Yes, you slip it in a bag of holding easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where he would live. No, Sable, thank you. This has been very educational. I mean, sorry, Cora, did you want to ask something?
No, Not really. I'm trying to wrap my head around what's more powerful. Well, I mean, we've just had a list, but what this person might want more than an army of the dead. But, yeah, let's
Well,
take our leave,
it's
maybe.
certainly an interesting distraction. I obviously would have liked to have made some coin, but here. And he picks up what seems to be a tie pin and a length of material and says, "For you, Miss Eclipse, is that right?"
Yes. I know
For
your
you.
name, right?
And he
I
runs.
was told they said my name. So, yeah.
You're all bloody famous because you're the ones who opened the gates. You know, you're kind of famous. And he goes up and he puts the material around your waist, makes like a kind of a half knot, and then stabs the kind of tie pin through it, and goes. And the tie pin's got like this little jewel on it, it's like a mother of pearl, iridescent, so mostly white with this beautiful little rainbow kind of swirl through it. And he goes, there we go. At least I know a piece of mine will be seen at the Duke's. With my compliments.
Oh, thank you very much.
Whilst he's doing that, I put 2 platinum pieces on the bench whilst his back was turned, and then I'm gonna leave.
I was about to say send the bill to the Green Organization.
He gave it to you as a gift. And says, goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Lovely social call. And go on as the door closes.
I do believe Eclipse was correct. It's quite nice. I do like his style.
Well,
What were you gonna say, Simon?
I was going to give Nick a perception check as the door closed.
okie dokie. Uh, 23.
Okay, that's enough. As the door closes, you hear 2 words. Contact the... And it closes.
Do we go back in?
We don't hear any
Farewell.
farewell here, is that right?
What does Farewell decide to do? Does he panic? Is it the Farewell panic?
Interesting.
I
No,
am
there's,
looking at the. Sorry. I was. Carry on. I thought you stopped.
Go on.
No. Cora is kind of looking at the belt that just got attached to Eclipse, who we know is slightly loose-lipped and is suspicious of this belt. Glory, are you able to identify things? Is that just a
I
belt?
can tell what school of magic something is, but I can only lead us so far.
Is that magical?
If it is magic, that is.
Is it? I point at the belt. As we're walking away, I'm guessing slightly.
I'll take a look when we're back at the tavern.
Okay, well, let's hold our tongues until then. shall
I'd
we?
rather not in the middle of the street, you know?
Yeah. Simply putting your opal over your eye and all the rest of it would be... yeah. Okay,
Too much effort.
sure.
Well, that's either going to end well or end good.
Well, well and good
It's
are
like you-
both good, aren't they?
Well, kinda. I mean, I've got a
Depends
feeling
on,
that he's telling a load
whose
of
well we're
friends.
talking about, but that is another matter entirely. I mean, just because something ends well for my cousin doesn't mean it ends well for me, so, you know.
Sure.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, of course he's going to tell his
uh,
friends. If he's part of this organization, that's what they do, right?
he's not really kinda sorta.
Is he, though? Is it that just
He's-
a
yeah,
front?
Probably in a league with
He's-
something else.
He's one of those
entirely.
people that
It's
falls.
interesting.
Yeah,
Do you like people like that?
he falls firmly into the category of don't trust these mad bastards. He's well, He's either going to kick over a load of stuff that will help us, or kick over a load of stuff that will make life difficult for us. And I'm not quite sure what it is yet. If I'm honest.
Find out.
That's what makes it fun. Come on now. I need to change dress before we head out.
We've got like 3.5 hours.
Yes, and I
Only
need to do
3.5
my makeup.
I have things though. I really want to go back to where we met the prince for the first time.
Well,
I want to go back to that cave.
I think that's exactly where we need to go.
It took us more than 3 hours to get there and back last time. We were walking in those tunnels for quite a while.
Yeah, but we know
tell
exactly
you know
where
the
the
other entrance is now.
Yes, we know where
Yeah.
the quick entrance because we've got it on our map.
But Glory's kind of right.
How
I'm not
far away is
expecting
it,
to
Simon?
be a really quick and easy thing.
Probably about, let's see, walking across the city, minus the Cora aspect because
We
she's...
have a carpet.
Hey,
we
I'm
would fly.
quick. I'm quick. Remember,
Oh.
I'm an urchin. I know where I'm going.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, because you half it with an urchin. But yes, you have a
Plus,
carpet.
we would
Yes,
fly.
so
Yeah, we would jump.
yeah.
We would use we would try.
10 minutes
We
with the
would
carpet.
travel by carpet. It'd take 10 minutes to get there.
as the rug flies, it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that is now going to be our official sort
the rug
of
flies.
official sort of designation as to how far we get
All
to.
right.
Yes, what is the rug fly?
As long as I
distance?
get at least an hour to get my makeup done before we need to be at the Duke's. Should be able
I
to at least
cannot
make something
promise-
presentable in that time.
I cannot promise you that we will not show up to this event smelling like we've been through one hell of a fight, but I will do my very best to make sure it doesn't happen.
Glory's worst nightmare coming up.
Very well. I usually am not the one smelling like we just came out of a fight.
It's the
Prestidigitation.
first time for
You just
everything.
smell the melted people.
Yeah, and whilst we're talking, I'm pulling the
Prestidigitation.
rug out. Okay, who wants to fly this time?
It's my carpet. It's my
And,
pride carpet.
Yeah, I sit at the back of the carpet like the cool kid. You know, back
Back of the bus.
Like-
Sure.
And
You step
we're
onto the carpet
flying.
and say pride, and as you do that, this very large carpet.
It's alright,
lifts up.
farewell will navigate
Pull
for
out
you.
a
Tell you where to
fantasy
go.
magazine out of her bag and start and looking through, looking at hairstyles.
Sure. Yeah. It's what's known as a salon paper. So it's a literal newsletter that is sent around all the stylish salons, and by salons I mean ladies' salons, not hairstyle salons. That use of the word is a modern use of the word. A salon used to be a place where ladies would congregate and eat delicacies and talk about important things, I'm sure. So you get onto the carpet. You pull out the latest kind of, society newsletter, which will have a lot of the styles and things from that have come in off the boats. And 10 minutes of flying. And bear in mind, that's kind of like getting to height, then coasting over the city, and then kind of landing and finding the spot. You find the concealed entrance, shuffle your way in through what is quite a narrow kind of space. It's kind of obscured. Looks like it's a crack that leads to nowhere, and then you are in the tunnels. Is there anything you particularly want to look out for on the way there?
I'm looking for glyphs, runes, pictograms, documentation, bones, signs of rituals, that sort of thing.
Okay. You find the only thing you find whilst you are doing that, because I'm presuming that you're using all of the various arcane means at your disposal and your insane perception check, you find a few things that you wouldn't expect, and that is some dog ends.
Dog ends of what? As in the slang term dog ends, or literal backsides of dogs?
Just dogs' asses everywhere. No,
Just
no.
the rear hind legs, because then I'd have to look at Cora and be like, is this where she stashes all the body? As she sneaks out at night
I
murdering
hate you
dogs.
all. I love dogs. Kate loves dogs.
Her
Maybe Cora
ongoing
doesn't.
war with the latest
Cora
canine.
maybe had bad experiences.
No, dog ends as in discarded bits of roll up.
Oh, so spent cigarettes. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
This is going to sound rather disgusting, but for the sake of just having to use them later for having something that belongs to somebody or belonged to somebody, Farrell takes one of the few spare jars he has in his pocket and spends the necessary time picking them up and dropping them into the jar.
Absolutely. So, uneventful, other than you picking up some cigarette ends. However, when you get to the underground structure, which, if you remember, is kind of like paved, kind of like a temple. It's got some columns. It's got, although it's long since collapsed, it had a kind of a stone pagoda roof, and it's got some slabs, and it's got the strange kind of fetid pool of salt water that's in the middle there. Everything structurally is the same. The adornments that weren't there before is the 11 Katoa that have all been impaled. They are currently held off the floor by large, kind of like thin logs, I guess, spiked at the end, and they've been impaled through the back of their neck, and the spike is coming out of their mouth. All 11 of them dead.
Oh dear.
It's
Interesting.
horrifying.
Okay.
How long have they been?
Give me a medicine check.
Well, that's a natural one.
That's right. Hard to tell. They kind of smelt dead when you last saw them alive. Yeah. Sorry.
It was bound to get me sooner or later. I was on a roll.
I'll give you the basics, the ones that's like really simple.
What is your total, even with a 1, for, Nick?
It would be a 10.
Okay.
So yeah, it's still a 10.
Yeah, but it's a nat 1.
So the obvious is that it's been less than a week, because there are certain things where it takes no skill at all to go, yep, those have been dead a while. With your skill, you know it's been less than a week. But how long? Again, they're not good smelling. You can see that one of them is the Katoan priest.
Shit.
Do they look sort of ritually done? I mean, because that sounded pretty. This isn't that someone just come in and killed them. They've kind of displayed them, right?
Give me an investigation check.
Guidance.
Yeah, I would also like to do an investigation check, please.
Sorry, okay, I can only do it to one.
Is guidance is
fine.
just a D4,
D4.
extra D4.
Simon, just to be sure, so they are impaled to the spike through the base of the skull out of the mouth. It's not gone through any part of the body, and they're on their
no.
They're on their knees, I assume.
No, they are suspended off the floor.
Yes, I used the luck
Push to
point.
talk.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
They are bound to the spike with through the base of the skull and out of the mouth.
Yes, that's right. and the things that they've been taken, it's taken them off the floor.
Okay, I rolled a 19.
Ooh.
Okay. So in answer to your...
I was gonna say I used a luck point and I got a 29.
Nice.
Okay, I'll get to you in a minute. I'm going to answer.
I thought my
Kate's
19 was
original.
good, but no.
Well, when you've got an intelligence of 19 and they ask you to do an investigation, it sometimes it pays dividends.
Yeah, my intelligence
Especially when
is
you
zero,
have
but my
Rogue
investigation
double
has
expertise or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the expertise as well on investigation.
Nice. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm helping you.
So,
Yeah.
Kate,
Yeah.
in answer to your
Sure.
question, was it ritualistically done? The Cora takes a look to see if there's any signs of ritual. As soon as you get up to them, you do notice that their hands and feet have been bound. And also, there seems to be the closest thing that you can see to a ritual mark is looks like someone's done it with their thumb. There's a kind of slightly glistening, although it's kind of hard to tell, black mark, like someone's just taken like soot or ash or could even be black sand and gone like that onto each creature's head.
Including the priest,
On them all.
all look the same. Doesn't look like.
Does she see
one-
any defensive wound?
Yeah.
Yes, there are defensive wounds.
So
Okay.
they fought.
Interesting. Does it look like... Well, the mark on the black thing. Does it look like it's a rune or some magical residue or an
I'm gonna-
indication to what might have caused it?
You can check in a sec. So, Corinne, you, with your 29, can see everything that Cora just saw. You can also see that they were all hit with some sort of paralyzing electric blast. And for some of them, as you're checking the bodies, you can see a contact point. You have a feeling it was almost like a cattle prod. Looking at the burn marks, where in 3 of the Katoa's cases, they didn't just shock them, they actually jabbed them with the implement, and there's like this branding mark. Circle with little flecks around the side. Looks like the tip of a rod, some sort of casting rod.
I relay this and say, look here, it's they shock them here and here. You can see the electrical burn marks here.
I take my book out and I'll note down everything that they've drawn attention to, and then I'll spend the requisite time to just start sketching out that burn pattern. And just for the sake of the obvious, it's clear that this would be done rather with a mechanical sort of thing rather than, say, blowback from any, say, magical spell.
Yeah.
This looks deliberate. Once Eclipse points out the burn marks in the Katoa's body, you could tell that this was some sort of implement that some sort of rod that fired electric pulses that would kind of knock someone's nervous system out. So some sort of paralysis. But then also somebody kind of jabbed it, almost like they're trying to cause pain. And the times that happened, it singed the flesh. Going back to you, Felicia, give me an Arcana roll.
All right. That's my best roll. It's a 19 total.
19. Yeah, sure. You know this. It's a level 1 spell. When you go up to it and you start picking some of the soot off the face, you notice that they're mostly dissolved grains of sea salt in it. So a pinch of soot and salt is the material components for comprehend languages.
Oh, motherfucker.
Oh. That is not.
And we're interrogated.
Glory, before we... Are you able to easily just look at this belt, or can we just throw that belt somewhere else? Do you want that belt, Eclipse?
It looks very nice.
It's a
Yeah,
very
we
pretty.
just
Also
told
be-
someone
Let
we
me
were
take a look.
investigating. I just...
Yes, have a look. See if it's bugged. Honestly.
I mean, I would if I was him.
To be fair, I probably would too. It's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would also bug it as well. And I'm not that way.
And Farrell's supposed to be the most good, reasonable person out of us. At least from what you guys have been telling me.
Yeah,
I'm not
who knows?
sure
It's probably
anymore.
bugged us all this time. And I look at Farewell.
Oh,
Well, to be fair, I can read all of your lips.
I can read your minds.
That's
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Well,
It's a not one-upmanship, guys.
what I mean is just because I
wait.
can doesn't mean.
Simon, I will lift
Dude.
my hand to my eye and look at the belt for Cora.
Thank you.
Okay. You lift your hand to your eye, and you see through the opal on the back of your hand, instantly getting the benefits of detect magic, and give me a perception check.
Guidance.
The belt, you. Okay.
Well,
Well,
you
that
know,
is a
it's,
natural
she says,
20.
Woo!
damn it.
Add your default though. Still add your. We can have a ridiculous
Wait,
plus
wait.
30 number. I want a
Okay.
ridiculous plus 30
Yeah, I need
number.
to know the number.
Okay, natural 20 plus 3 plus my perception, which is 5, so that's a 28.
28. God damn it.
Almost
Okay.
a 30.
So basically, you look at it and you go, "Nope, that's not enchanted." And there's this. Pardon me. That's not enchanted. And as you're thinking that, you can see that there's this little glow that's just disappearing from the hat pin, from the tie pin that he put through it. And because you got above 25, a small amount of divination magic is disappearing from the tie pin because you warned him. He was there like, "Oh shit, they're about to look at it." And as he was getting rid of the temporary enchantment, you're just seeing the last glimmer of the magic leaving the tie pin.
Well, Cora, dearest, I can tell you it is not enchanted anymore.
How long is it gonna stay not enchanted?
I'll take a look at it in
I
an
hold
hour
my
or
hand
two.
out for the pin. I just don't say anything. I just hold my hand.
Take it and give it to you.
Young lady.
I really like that one.
And I
But it's such a
Slip it
pretty
into my
brooch,
bag of
though.
Sure.
Oh well.
Maybe
Pin
later.
goes in the bag holding.
Okay. Whew.
Glory, you do know that once he put a temporary enchantment on it when he held it, but then once he disengaged the enchantment, he can't enchant it at distance. You're proficient in enchanter's tools, so you know that now that he's let go of the enchantment, he can't re-enchant it unless he touches
That's
it.
not why I want it.
Okay.
Ah.
'Cause
Okay,
I
well,
can find him properly now. I have
Yeah.
something that was his.
that's true.
Yeah.
And that is always useful for when you need to find somebody.
Oh yes.
Yep.
When you're a scryer, you collect up all sorts of weird shit.
Yeah, that's
So,
the reason
yep.
why I'm collecting weird shit.
Well,
Because I
Yeah.
can now
Oh.
scry.
Laura's no reason to tell you that. As far as Eclipse and Cora is concerned, and perhaps Farewell as well, they could enchant that again at any moment.
Well, it's going in a
is
bag of
fascinating.
holding, I hope. Before Cora says anything.
It's 9:30, everybody, so probably best to take
Ooh.
a
Time to take a break.
10-minute
Yeah,
break.
break.
And
That
if
gives
there's
me an
anything else
idea
you
of
want to do
thinking
this
what
scene,
else I
haven't
wanna
ended
look
the
at.
scene, but we can resume after the end. So we're going to take a 10-minute break, everybody. But if you enjoyed our particular brand of chaos, Please check out our Discord link below or follow us for our other broadcasts. See you soon. And welcome back, everybody. Let's get back to it. Players, what would you like to do?
I want to look and see if I can see if there's any other survivors. If there's anyone hiding anywhere.
Sure. Give me perception or survival, your choice.
And while she's doing that, I'm taking the time to free each one and pull them down.
Sure. They're quite muscular for fish folk.
I'm trying to
Quite
help,
muscular.
but she's probably getting their ankles and their legs are just bending, and she's not really helping, but she's trying.
21.
Okay. 21 means you're quite certain there isn't any left.
It's a 16 on a strength check, by the way, Simon, just in case you need.
You have enough time. It's not that you're having to do it in a clutch moment, so there's no point in rolling. You take them down, and yeah, they're on the floor.
So the sea salt thing is confusing, but could this be his dad?
No. This is also a part of the spell to translate language.
Oh, okay.
Because you remember the
don't
last
worry
time
about that.
here.
What I'm more worried about is the fact that if the Duke's son went away on a boat, I would have expected his friends, the fish people, to be either with him or at least supporting that decision, not dead like this.
Yeah,
Which
well,
leads me to believe that he might have been kidnapped again.
or
I mean,
I think it's more likely, Lori, is that he went and then someone tried to interrogate these people here of where he were.
I
Like,
guess.
I
his
also think
father?
there's a fancy.
So out of style. I mean, if you're gonna torture
there's-
someone, at least do it properly. This just looks messy.
No
I'm gonna
torture,
give you a
no
free
torture
pass.
is good.
I'm going to give you a free pass on that one, as there's more important things going on. We don't really have the time to discuss that, but I mean, the kidnapping of the Duke's son is not out of the question yet. We can't rule that out.
he was sitting and reading a book.
okay.
He looked calm when she scryed on him last. He didn't
Yeah,
look.
but that was 3 weeks ago.
True,
This
which also means
was
he
a
didn't
week-
do this.
Yes, that's true as well. They don't look 3 weeks old.
Uh,
I need
wouldn't
10
be
minutes.
surprised
You
if
have
it's
that
nice dad.
spell where you can,
I need 10 minutes.
speak with dead people.
Yes, I'm going to. I reach into my pouch. I pull out a couple of sticks of incense. I shuffle around looking for a light before I just turn to like one of the more arcane magic users and just be like, "Any help?
I think
Thank you."
I got Thaumaturgy and Prestidigitation. I know one of those can light like
I think
something.
it's Prestidigitation, isn't it? The one that can.
yeah,
set
actually I
things on
can't
fire?
because I
Yeah,
don't
prestidigitation
have.
will.
Cool. So yeah, and then I will sit with the sort of like billowing the smoke into my hands, the incense, and then just during the course of the ritual, breathing it into one of the high priests, into the high priest's sort of face, and then I'll complete the spell once the time goes through.
Sure.
That 10
the-
minutes, I'm just
it-
keeping an eye on the door we came in and stuff, or looking around to see if anybody. I think we already kind of investigated enough, but like if anybody had set anything to see if someone would do this, because someone smart enough would know speak with dead is a thing, and maybe wouldn't leave them, but they look like they were displayed, so I don't know. FY. Cora's nervously wandering and pacing around while he's doing this.
Okay. As you
What's the
finish
Duke's son's called again? Remind me.
Tristane.
Stain.
As you blow the smoke into the face of the high priest, the smoke suddenly whirls into little tendrils and goes in through the mouth and nose. The dead body suddenly jerks and the chest rises. You know this is where you ask questions.
What is your favorite color? What is your quest? What is the terminal velocity of an unladen swallow?
African or European?
No!
First question is, can you describe who attacked?
Just checking. Cool. Okay. Suddenly the chest rises, and with a death rattle you hear squad. No uniform. Dressed in black. Casters. Devices hurt us. Rendered us useless.
I assume all of this is in Aquan and we don't understand shit.
No, it's in common. Comes out.
Oh.
I think only I can hear it though by the spell.
Yeah.
Let me just double check. Actually, doesn't say anything about that.
Well,
It does say only I can ask the question.
But it did no common in life, so that's fine. Yeah. So it tells you in common.
Good, and we also know something additionally, that nobody used this spell within the last 10 days on it. So nobody then tortured them and then tried to ask them more questions after their death. So that's
right.
Next question is, what were they asking or looking for?
Looking for the boy, Tristane. The Kraken gave him the gift, but he had to go and meditate with it, perform the ritual, gain the army. They asked, we did not know. Our part was only in brokering the exchange.
Should we ask where he went?
Do you know where the... No, because he's already said that they didn't know where he went and he wasn't able to answer the question. His role was only to broker the exchange.
Right, sorry. This freaks me out. It's, my brain isn't working. Carry on.
It's alright. It's fine. You oddly get used to it. I'm just going to use this one
killers
as I need
wearing
time
anything that could identify them with any faction we know,
He
city or outside
said
of it.
that they
Black.
wore no symbols, no uniforms, all in black.
Well, that is telling in itself, is it not? They wanted to hide who they worked for or who they were.
Exactly.
It could be so many people. I don't trust Renata. I don't trust the Duke.
Oh, Cora dear. Would it be a fool to trust any of them?
Yes. So how do you pinpoint which one did it? Maybe they both did it. Who knows? Do you have one more
Are
question?
you followers? Yeah, I've got 3 more questions.
Oh,
Are you followers of the Kraken?
Yes. Keepers of the Kraken. We serve Melora and the Kraken. An ancient pact as old as our people. The Kraken provides. We survive. We hunt. But we serve in balance with Melora.
Interesting. Two more
You know that
questions, guys.
Melora, it being the goddess of nature, she is a good god, as far as the morality of gods can be determined. But she is, she acknowledges the fact that certain civilizations, humans being one of them, can be very violent, and so she kind of stays out of the what she sees as petty squabbles between races. And acknowledges those who are in balance. So she has no problem with the Katoa.
Yeah.
And by keepers, that's something that they didn't quite explain. It's more complex than they can explain in the.
Yeah, that was going to be
The
my
briefing
fifth
team.
question. But I wanted to check if there was any question that anybody else wanted me to ask. We've got two more, one of which I want them to ask, but anything from anybody else?
You're covering it pretty good so far. Just we've covered if they knew anything about it. We've covered who attacked them, which were a squad of people that were dressed in black, no uniform, and they, yeah.
They wouldn't
And
be
we
able...
know they were looking for Tristan.
Yeah, we know
Yeah.
they're looking for Tristan.
Did,
I mean, might be asked if there were any survivors, if they know if there's anyone that is hidden away somewhere, like, but...
They might not know because they were killed, so... Or
yeah,
Did-
so
took
that's not
anything?
Did any of your-
necessarily-
Did any of your people go with Tristan or survive the attack?
None with Tristan, though he bears a mark that means all Kutoa will leave him unharmed and aid him if necessary. 2 of our kind did escape, but they will not return. It was too dangerous to come here. We only remained because of this temple, which is now tainted and known.
Can you explain more to me of what a keeper is? Or explain to me more what a keeper is.
That's your final question.
That would be my final question.
Those who worship the Kraken are not the servants of the Kraken. As such, the Kraken wishes to return and reign over all the seas of the elemental plane, and the seas of this, the prime material plane. We sacrifice, we worship, we are servants to a degree, but our worship keeps it in place, sated, happy. It hears our song and slumbers. Only on the night of the dark star shall it return, and destruction shall be wreathed upon the seas once more. And all semblance of life leaves the body. You now
Right.
So
know about the fringe religion.
Yeah, I know all of that down in my book, so I have that in there. As Nick, he's also noting it down in his book.
To make clear, the Katoa kind of worship the Kraken, but their kind of worship holds it in place and keeps it as a useful god, as opposed to an all-destroying god. They worship, they sing, they sate. They feed things to the kraken to keep it fat and contented and not needing to go off and hunt. It's not a desperate demigod, because it's not really a full god, it's a demigod. They worship and sing to it, sing it a lullaby, and keep it nice and sleepy.
Okay. I'm gonna need to spend some time dealing with these guys. So if there's anything you want to do, feel free. But I'm gonna go do my thing.
Simon, are we in the place where there was that well? Sorry.
There's a hole in the floor with some
Right.
brackish seawater in it.
Okay.
You do not know how deep it goes.
No, sure. Sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Actually, no, that's a fantastic point, and I'm going to assume Cora points that out.
Well, I remembered the tentacles, and I was wondering if we were at that point or if it had happened like before we had worked our way. So if we were in the kind of chamber.
Right in front of that hole.
Is there a stone on the floor, Simon?
Yes.
Pick up the stone, and I use the cantrip light to cast basically the brightest light that I can.
Sure.
Bloop.
Goes
Okay,
down,
anyway.
down, down, down. Light fades out.
Well,
That's
we can take a dive down there, but I don't really recommend it.
Well, I can. I mean, I can breathe water.
Yeah, but sending you to a dark, deep pit, even if it's filled with water, it doesn't seem like the greatest idea.
Not if there's a kraken at the bottom, which I assume there is if there is a temple here to worship them. Although,
And
if
he did say it opened holes to summon forth the kraken in there. So it could it could be a literal hole down to the kraken's lair, or it could just figuratively be a very deep.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
I'm willing to
probably
go
not gonna
down. I mean, we've got plenty of rope between us.
I don't feel entirely comfortable with it. More importantly, we do have confirmation that there were survivors of the attack, which we might be able to find. Probably not around here, but somewhere else. And I really want.
I figured that. Again, that's kind of finding people's your expertise, and you might be able to. I mean, they'd stand out.
Yes. If they're in the city, I assume they would leave the city and go through the water path rather than the streets. But I am
Sewers,
really
probably.
curious on actually going and see if we to the Duke's house and see if I can find anything in Tristane's room. As Renata said, if we just ask kindly, he'll be happy to show us. If we say we're here to see if we can find him.
Sure. Sure. I'll go do the deal with the bodies then. And basically, Pharaoh takes them and is going to return them to the sea. So he'll take the time necessary to basically bury each body at sea and returning them to the water.
Are you doing it in the pool that's right here? Or are you trying to...
God, no. No, he will
Cora
have
was
to.
thinking
I
it.
assume he would have to carry them up out of the temple to near where the coast is, and then basically even maybe use the carpet to basically dump them at. And I use dump in just the figurative term that's rather disrespectful. Yeah, just like yeet
Sea
them
burial.
off the carpet into the water.
Yeet!
Yeah, no. No, that's disrespectful. That's not what the board.
You muted, Simon. You muted yourself.
Yep. That's because I was eating and then coughing. But yes. Alas, poor fish boy, we knew him not. Yeet.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it gets to you taking the priest away from the temple, suddenly the temple shakes, and the pool in the middle ripples, and there is a bellowing sound of what I can only describe as aggressive whale song.
Maybe not take it away.
Maybe I was correct. Maybe just dumping them in there is a good idea.
I'm gonna just say with the power of random that you took one of the one of the other Katoas first. Nothing wrong with that. You took that out, no problem at all. Yeah. The second you picked up the priest and started pulling him away, the fucking ground shook, the water in the pool splashed and rippled, and there was this aggressive sound of whale song, very loud.
21 for sort of just to be sure. Is this a don't you dare take that away from me kind of thing? Just to be completely sure and not just a... Yeah, it was insight.
Yeah.
Rather than
I'll give it to you on a 21. Yeah, it was pretty much a don't you fucking dare.
And I go take the other ones up first, and then I come back and I'm like, I really didn't want to spend more time, so I wanted to do this all in one. Fine, if we're going to do this way, I'm going to need a bit more time, guys. I'm really sorry about this. Grumble, 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 grumble.
Do you not want to just leave him here? Just, pretty.
I am going to leave him here. Don't you worry. And basically, I place one hand, and I spend an hour and 10 minutes because I've got no fucking choice now because I wanted to do this the right way, and I don't like leaving bodies unattended in creepy, kraken-y, bloody temples with death water, and I cast Funeral Rite.
As you start casting Funeral Rite, the ground shakes, the pool splashes, and the same aggressive whale sound appears.
I don't care. I'm carrying.
No, stop! Farewell.
Stop, Farrell.
Just
please.
Maybe leave him.
We don't want to fight whatever's in there.
Do you think?
I think if you put the body in the water, I think that will seen as be a good funeral rite, but for this being.
Yeah. Okay. I take a pinch of salt and two copper pieces, and I place a pinch of salt on each of his eyes, a copper piece each on of his eyes, and I bind it in place and cast Gentle Repose as a ritual spell. It takes 6 seconds to do, and then I throw him in the water.
Oh shit! Okay.
It's a second level necromancy spells. The target is protected from decay and can't become
Yeah, sure. You throw your now prepared corpse into the into the pool. It starts to sink a little. Bodies tend to float a bit, but this seems to sink slowly and then kind of stop, almost as if it's kind of when you threw it in, it had some inertia, but now its buoyancy is keeping it still. And you can see it just through the murk of the water. You can see the basic outline of the body, and then suddenly, as if one of the arms has just been grabbed, the body just goes out of sight.
Yep. Are we done here? Let's go.
Let's leave. Let's go, guys. Let's leave.
Sure.
I really hope that creature doesn't think we just did that.
It's. I'm not having an undead fish army come out of here this close to the
Understandable.
city.
No, yes, I didn't get what you were doing.
Because, yeah. That was a very angry, nasty way to die. And that can cause, being tortured to death and everything. Anyway. So then I spend the rest of the time burying all the others. And
Okay.
looking for angry whales and or tentacles that may want to swat us out as we hover above the sea.
As you leave,
90 feet above the sea, just yeet!
as you leave the temple, there is a final sound, and you're kind of about to say, "What now?" kind of thing, and then it hits you. There's a shake, a ripple of the pool, and again this kind of powerful whale sound, but instead of it being angry, it's almost like a roar of pride. Yeah, like just showing how mighty this being is with the roar, and it is this kind of whale. I'd say this kind of hench whale sound. That is the best I can describe
Hedge
it.
whale.
And
It's a Chad whale.
it seems like it's more of a fanfare than anything else. It's not angry with you. It's just flexing, I guess, as you leave.
Flexing whale.
Was strange. Either way, we have
not
dinner to
looking
get
for
to.
a-
Let's hurry back.
Yeah. So yeah, we finish up however long that takes. Hopefully that gives Glory her hour plus time upon which to
Sure.
get ready. Meanwhile, whilst Glory's getting ready, I would like to nip back to the caravan and consult my family's own books to see if we have anything on Night of the Dark Star.
Yep. You absolutely do. It's not in any of your books about the duty. Instead, it's books about family history. You know that the Night of the Dark Star is a prophecy made by a member of the Merfolk that says, on the Night of the Dark Star, the Kraken shall once again awaken fully. At first it shall take its throne in the plane of elemental water, and thereafter celebrate its new dominion by entering the primaterial plane, upon where it shall take on a great hunt, and all of the coastal cities of Illyria shall be destroyed. And the footnotes are currently held in place by an order of faith. Several orders of faith. There are worshippers amongst Merfolk, Katoa, Sahuagin, the Bullywugs, even, although it does have a footnote saying the Bullywugs normally fuck it up due to their incredibly low intelligence. And basically a lot of sea folk know about the Night of the Dark Star, and the recommendation it has in the book, being that this is a family journal, the recommendation is to seek out the Silver Fins if you need to know more about the Night of the Dark Star.
Silver fins. Yep.
They
Yep,
are
you know
part
that-
of the seven.
They are. They are one of the pirate factions of the Nation of the Seven Sails.
Brilliant. Thank you. I then return. I have a beautiful black velvet bag that's embroidered with this silver raven on it, and it's obviously big enough that it's carrying, in effect, probably something that's big enough to fit clothes in, rather than something. So I come back with that.
Absolutely. Okay. Good use of your background there. Yes, your family knew of this well. Yeah. You would normally have to roll to see if you'd remembered, but because you went back to your little miniature library in your caravan, you got the information directly. What else would you like to do?
Guys, I know
Well,
I've
I'm
been doing a hell of a
getting
lot of stuff.
prepared, getting groomed. Grooming myself. Yeah.
Okay. Suited and booted. Are you still going to wear sable sash?
Sash without the pin.
Sure.
Sadness.
Okay. Glory, I assume that you have made appropriate preparations. Anything else you would like to do? Any research you would like to do before going to meet the Duke, or any preparations of other kinds?
Well, I will brush up on my recent intrigue and whatever the recent news around the social circles in order to stay up to date and keep the conversation flowing, since I know the rest of them will be pretty useless.
Okay. This is going to be effectively a tool creation roll, so give me a charisma with proficiency, please.
Sorry about that. Background noise. Well, let's see here. Charisma with proficiency, you said?
Mm-hmm.
It's +9, so it's a 25.
25. Nice.
Assume
Okay.
I am up to date with all things social.
Yeah, you've got your finger on the pulse. You're pretty sure it's for you. It's almost like revising before a test, sitting in front of a duke. You're going to be able to, with this information, show how switched on you are with all of the social intrigues of the city. Okay.
Good, good.
So, anything else that anybody would like to do? No.
I will.
Well, I need to get changed,
go
obviously, and
through
cleaned up.
the regular etiquette when using fancy forks and knives, because I did not catch that last time.
Sure. Okay. So, educated, prepared. Cora, are you going?
If it looks like everyone's going, so Cora will use her like half armor thing to make something that looks kind of nice, smart, but not like crazy. Just a smarter version of her, but still possibly with sort of armory, things and some Feywild sort of like filigree and things, and yes, a bit,
I was about to
showing
say
a
Nola.
bit her
It's not
knightly.
Nola. Awen says,
Awen?
"Oh, I like the Fey touch. Don't forget that you can look like a Fey ambassador if you want to really stick it to the Duke and say you're not the boss of me."
I mean, he's not the boss of me. I'm gonna, I'm not gonna completely. I don't want to go completely Fey. Like Cora's got her own identity that she can't just completely get rid of. So she's got sort of a bit of everything going on, and there's maybe even some Freetown, if there's any sort of I don't know, styles or things that happen in Freetown, she might well add that into the mix as well to kind of stick it a little bit too.
Freetowners do have a particular only one icon that is specifically Freetown and not specific groups within Freetown, because there's gangs, there's little clutches of workers and things like that. Some people have a fashion that is only like a street, so there'll be like the Bronze Street kids will have something that they wear and that. But something that is very typically Freetown, and that is a neckerchief. So just normally just a thing that you would use as like a headband and a bunch of other things, just useful bit of cloth, but tied in a knot at the front. Typically, if you're going to wear a kerchief, you turn it around into a cravat so that the point is here and the knot is at the back. Deliberately, the people in Freetown put it the wrong way around, so it almost looks like a tie. For some people, they say it looks like a noose, and it's a reminder of their past, where they have been subjected to certain culls throughout the history. So that's the only thing that you can really identify you as a Freetown is to wear.
She'll have that. She'll have that sort of like there, but subtle. Like it's kind of half hidden underneath sort of other things, but it's there.
Okay. As for Fae, you know that the symbol of the Summer King is a castle of gold with a burning sun above it. If you wanted to, you could either wear a tabard or you could wear a shoulder pennant or something like that. If you wanted to kind of go, I'm with him, kind of thing.
I mean, I
or
think
you can admit that.
She's Does she have any inclination as to what the Duke thinks of that sort of stuff? His attitudes towards any of
No
this?
idea. You've never met the guy. This is your first chance.
But like knowing the city generally, like how are things, what is frowned upon and what isn't, and that sort of thing. She'd have some sort of inclination as to whether he likes people flaunting things in his face. He's a warmonger.
The Freetowners have never. Yeah, the Freetowners have never been that. The Freetowners have never been that quiet about the fact that they may live on the Duke's lands, but they owe the Duke nothing, and so the Duke is kind of aware of that.
Yeah,
and he hasn't punished them for that reason. Previous Dukes have, he hasn't.
But the Fae stuff.
The Fae stuff, he doesn't seem to have an inclination either way. He's never been particularly aggressive about it, but neither has he ever been openly sycophantic.
I don't think she'd wear necessarily specifically the brand necessarily. I mean, I'm sort of picturing a kind of sort of shoulder sort of thing, like so it's like slightly fancier. I don't know if it's metal, but sort
so
of
it's like a fake style.
Faced up, but no, she might have the sun. She might have the sun as part of it, but not the whole emblem. So the sun is there, and there's some summery aspects, and like I say, sort of like leaf effects and whatever Fae type stuff in amongst the outfit.
Confusingly, the sun is also the symbol of Pelor, but you've got it in a Fae fashion.
It's not necessarily confusing. She's trying to be kind of slightly subtle and elusive.
Yeah.
It's a good cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
She doesn't want to put all her cards on the table.
You do notice that Eowyn asks for permission to dismiss herself, and when she comes back, she's actually wearing a petal dress.
Cute.
She's
Is she visible? Are we? Because I feel like we're still doing a lot of stuff where she's not obvious to most people. I think she reveals herself amongst.
She's only visible
friends.
to you.
Yeah, I think she's revealed herself sometimes. Amongst us though, at times.
She has amongst your friends, but normally her default state is invisible.
Yeah.
She's dressing up largely because if you're dressing up, she gets to dress
up.
up.
Oh yeah, she can absolutely dress up. I was just double checking what your thinking was, because yeah. Cool.
She's wearing a dress made of water lily leaves, water lily petals.
Nice. See, don't be afraid of where you come from.
She still has the sword at her hip though, because she's just that sort of girl.
We all
dress and a sword.
I think I still have some weapons on me. I'm not going in there completely. Oh no, I'm sure that we'll have to leave something at the door, but.
Okay. Good. Are you all ready?
Well, I'm waiting for Glory to describe what she's wearing before the rest of us, the other two of us, confirm what she wants, because I know that Felicia's been putting a lot of thought into it, and it's well worth her having her big reveal.
Mm.
Oh dear. Oh.
Not the spot.
Now you're on the spot.
Yes.
Well, if you want,
But
Felicia, we can buy you a couple of
Glory
minutes
would
and
go
describe what
for
we're wearing.
The latest fashion, but yet a nod to home, because she's meeting the Duke. Fucking Duke of the city she's been living in, and she's still a Tezcatlipoca, and she knows what that means. So, I'm thinking something like what Insight, or no, not Insight, what Ideal would be wearing on a regular basis. And you've all seen her picture.
Yeah.
She's dressed like fancy as you can imagine, with usually some form of mermaid tail dress, lots of filigree, probably a dark black with her hair put up so that if you see her from behind, you will see the Tezcatlipoca emblem right beneath her neck.
Yep. So,
Nice.
basically, black mermaid dress with adornments, hair up, very much kind of equal parts sophistication, power, and femininity is what I got from Ideal. Is that right?
While I was talking, I was grabbing the image I was thinking of.
Well, that's very
This
pretty.
very glory.
Yeah. Okay. So you get back into you get into your costume and check yourself over in the mirror, and this wisp appears, and your dragon familiar goes, "Like a true mistress of the Tezcatlipoca, with meeting with royalty, as befits your station, mistress. You've been kept in the shadows, in the dirt, for too long."
Come here. This time, shine.
In a very disturbing way to other people, but not to you, the shadow serpent kind of writhes over your shoulders, almost like a mink kind of what do you call it? Mink shawl, mink scarf, whatever the hell it is, where you have a fur across your back, and kind of writhes around, looking like a perfect adornment to this, and then kind of curling up with his head kind of by your neck, he just fades from existence. A little wisp of smoke.
Let's go see the others.
Okay.
What do you put a cat in that doesn't look ridiculous?
Well, you've got smart
Only you
clothing
can answer
in
that.
Austria.
I mean, I would like to imagine we're all going in our magical girl outfits. That is why.
No.
That is my dream.
You can go in that.
Yeah, you're welcome to go in that if you want. If that's what you choose to go in, then you've got control, man. You go in what you want, but no, not for Farewell.
So, you're dressed up suitably. Yeah. Okay. Farewell, you said you were going to wear your formal robes?
Yeah, so Farewell has sort of a very... It's not exactly floor length, it's more like a jacket that comes across, and on the it's like almost double-breasted in the way that it affixes. So it's more like a coat rather than, say, robes, so to speak. And on the back, it's sort of got a beautiful embroidered raven, lots of scripture that sort of goes down in primordial all over the sort of shoulders and arms and down the back of it. It's this deep sort of oceanic colour, and then sort of it's a very smart shirt and trousers and boots that go along there. It's remarkably sophisticated for somebody as awkward as Farewell, and he wears it as if he's only ever in it when he's made to be in it, and doesn't quite know how to stand comfortably in it. So he sort of stands a little bit too rigid and a little bit too straight, and like as more time goes on, as he's waiting for everybody, the more uncomfortable that he becomes.
I had a uniform like that. Yeah.
All had a uniform.
Wear it twice a year, but bloody hell. Yeah, you go into the you get all dressed up, and there's a big juxtaposition, guys, between Farewell in this stiff set of formal Raven Queen robes, and Glory wearing a dress which she's one cough out of being absolutely obscene. And so
Wouldn't be damn if there wasn't that juxtaposition.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's like you've got the priest and the sinner right there. Noki turns around and says,
Morty Vicar.
Noki says, you're clearly dressed up in a suitable attire. Would you like a coach to take you there? I know it's only a short walk, but
we all look at Glory,
Very much so.
expectantly.
And you watch as Noki just suddenly kind of scratches his brow and goes, "There's one on its way."
Thank you.
So, looking fantastic. You're taking the Duke up on his invitation?
Very much so. It would be rude to not go. Besides, it'll be training. Nothing else.
Not necessarily rude. He is trying to show his appreciation for everybody, I should imagine. There have been people who have said no, given their what's the word? Apologies in place. But no, I think it is well deserved, and you should be recognized for what you have done for the city. By the way, Farewell, I had a letter come for you. It's more of a note. It was delivered by the person himself. Here you go. And he hands you a note.
I open it.
You open it up, and in a flowing and copperplate script, it says, "Dear Mr. Barebones, thank you very much for your invitation. I am here in the city. You may contact me through your tavern keep. I am at the Broken Hen. If you would like to come and visit me directly, Pharos, the Horizon Hunter that you invited to the city."
Fantastic.
He arrived yesterday.
I'm like, excellent. I kind of hoped he would have arrived earlier, but, he was probably busy. That's fantastic news. And I fold that away and I pop it into my inside coat pocket.
Mm-hmm. Not going to tell Eclipse.
As far as Farewell's, I think as far as Farewell's aware, he doesn't know about what went on.
Actually, that's a good point. So he's just like, oh, cool.
He's just gone, and he would have said out loud or everything I just said, and then just sort of.
So you leave and draw quite a few stares of attention as you walk towards the palace. But the closer you get, the more people kind of look, and it makes sense. You walk up to the palace, which has a demarcation of the border wall for the city, specifically for the palace. You walk up to the gate that's in the demarcation. There's a couple of them, and the guard steps forward and says, "Ho, friends, business here."
We were invited by the Duke to dine.
Yes.
kind of steps to like a tiny little desk that's off to the side and goes, yes, yeah. And of course, I almost didn't recognize you. You're those who opened the gate. Please come on in. He kind of looks at what you're wearing and says, the Duke is in the courtyard at the moment, looking at the new defences. But please go and say hello to him. He doesn't stand on ceremony. You can see that the guard seems a little familiar with the way he talks about it. He says, "Yeah, just go on in. You won't be able to miss him." And as you enter the courtyard, you can see that there are, even though the courtyard has some really lovely gardens, most of it is a parade ground. Apparently a smaller parade ground compared to the bigger parade ground that's in the middle of the city. And you can see that there are people on the top of the walls, the demarcation walls for the palace, and they seem to be making a kind of rampart on the inside of the wall. Now you know there's ramparts right along the city, but it's just a wall that you can walk on the top of. It's got crenellations and the usual stuff, and it's normally where the guards can patrol to see if there's anything going on outside the city, and also keep an eye on the inside of the city, and so they can see if there's any fire starting, things like that. Inside the courtyard, here they seem to have made kind of more aggressive platforms to be able to use this as a more of a fort. You have a feeling that they're improving after the siege, and you can see that there's a number of contraptions, all different types, that are inside the courtyard, and you can hear as a dwarven fellow goes, "Go on, Horace, do it, pull," and as he says the word pull, a device gets launched into the air, and it's like a kite. As it gets launched, it seems to be packed up, and as it gets launched into the air, it kind of unfurls itself, looking a little bit like I don't know, an aarakocra maybe, made of metal. Just looks like a kind of, I don't know, like a kind of mannequin, like a flying mannequin. And as soon as it opens its wings wide, it starts to glide momentarily, and you can see as a elderly guy. Well, I say elderly. He's kind of in his early 60s. So getting to the end of middle age, is with one of these large devices, about the size of a cart, but on a pivot so that he is holding onto it, and is able to pivot it without having to hold up the bulk of the weight. He pivots it around, suddenly pulls back on a lever, and this huge ka-chunk projectile fires out the front of it. It opens up into a net that then wraps around the flying mannequin, and you can tell with a certain amount of magic, because it does it too perfectly, the net constricts and crushes the mannequin and falls to the floor as a dead weight. All of this occurs just at the level of the wall, so the rest of the city can't see. The
Mental note: let us not fly towards here with the carpet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because you know those like fly
The
things.
bug things. Yeah. I mean, that would have been really useful like 6 weeks ago, but you know, at least he's learned. But
Better
still,
late than never.
exactly. But that's disconcerting. But I shouldn't be surprised that he's building it here first, rather on the outsides of the walls, on the outer walls, where really it would have done more good than here. But you know, I guess he's got to look.
I think
after
this is
himself first.
testing rather than
Testing, installing, not expanding. I think it's all the same for these sorts of people, if I'm honest.
the man, the human, who is mostly balding, stands up and you can see he's wearing certain fine clothes. But when he was firing this, he was basically kneeling down so that he could get an angle on it, and he brushes the dust from the courtyard off his trousers and goes, "The reloading needs to be faster, Mr. Mosswire, and as far as I'm concerned, the aiming is just too. Oh no, it needs to be faster. But speak to my Royal Engineer, and as long as you can get the kinks out of this, I'll have one on every tower in the city." And the dwarf is there scribbling frantically on a notepad, and well, of course, Your Grace, of course, we'll get right on it. Speaks to a bunch of gnomes who are nearby and says, "Well, you saw him. Come on, we've got to be able to reload this thing." And so they start working on that, and he kind of brushes himself down and goes, "Right, next up, I believe that was the what is it now?" And a servant comes up and points in your direction. He goes, "Oh yes. Tomorrow morning, first thing, I want to look over the scaling ones again, the demons that climb. Yes, I was thinking spikes coming out of the wall. Can we electrify them? How much does it cost to electrify them? We'll see. Anyway, well done, everybody. I think this is a good start. Very happy with it all. Don't forget your lunch and your beer. Don't drink too much. Is on me tonight. Enjoy yourself in the taverns of my fine city." Well done, everybody. Well done. Starts clapping, and then everybody who's kind of looking around just suddenly kind of awkwardly starts clapping along with him. So, let's speak to who are they? Ah, yes, okay, right. My gate breakers. Good to meet you all. Please, before we get started, before any of my lot come along.
Rather well timed that the Duke needed to blow his nose. It's all that dust he's kicked up.
It was about to be like, "Oh no, you're muted." Oh, it's deliberate. That's fine.
It's deliberate. Yeah.
No,
sorry.
that's absolutely fine.
Hay fever's getting me.
Yeah.
It says before any of my lot get to you, Your Grace is probably the one that you'd be most comfortable with. But as far as I'm concerned, many of the people who are closest to me in terms of my war parties, my soldiers, my staff around here, are free to call me Edmund, and I extend the same courtesy to you. I think everybody knows I'm the bloody Grace by now, so why stand on the ceremony? Do apologise. I seem to have dusted up my trews here.
Weird super formal clothes, and he's there in dusted work clothes.
Yeah, you can see this. I mean, don't get me wrong. The shirt he's wearing is like the finest shirt. We're probably talking a few platinum just for the one shirt he's wearing now. The jewelry he's got in his fingers, the chain of office he's got around his neck, things along that. He's carrying several bags of platinums worth of bling on him. But the clothes that he's wearing, he's got like sweat stains on the shirt. He's got scuff marks on the boots and the knees. You see he's got quite calloused hands as well. The closest I can get to, I guess, an actor description of Duke Edmund is the guy who played Stannis in Game of Thrones. I forget his name, but it's that kind of balding as well. And he says, and he's clearly quite muscular as well. He says, "So you took up my offer." Not everybody does, you understand, but I wanted to finally meet you, and well, I know that we met briefly, but now that I've gone through all those laborious bureaucratic meetings, I think it was time to get to know you. Anyway, come with me. We've got some good fare today. My chefs have outdone themselves. I saw them making the various tidbits earlier. He starts walking into the palace, and the palace is as you expect it to be, from a warlike family. The Ostermarks have got tons of trophies. Some of them are weapons that have been put on the wall that have been from fallen foes. Some of them are trophies. There's a number of different trophies of things that have been killed. You see a pair of demon horns that have been put onto the thing, and they're not from the Siege of Ostergold. They're clearly quite old, and that's just put up on the wall like it's a stag's head. Not the demon's head, just the horns. And once you get into the main receiving chamber, which you walk through to get to the dining chamber, you notice that his chair of office is in an open dragon's mouth. Open dragon skull's mouth. So they brought in a dragon skull, opened the mouth, and put the chair in there, set into the thing.
What color of dragon is it? Can I see that on the horns?
You're from Scalra. I'll give it to you. This was a green dragon. This is a big green dragon. Yeah. By the looks of it, very, very old. You're probably quite a few centuries old. This dragon head. Yeah. You get into the dining chamber, and he kind of walks towards the end, opens up a smaller chamber, and ushers you in. And there's a small, intimate dining table full of beautiful cutlery. There's a crackling fire, and there seems to be like an open bar by the side. And he walks straight up to the bar. He doesn't even sit down at the table. And he says, "Drink, anyone?"
Oh,
Yes.
please. It is an
he-
honor to finally be properly introduced.
Of course. Oh, I haven't really done the formal introduction. Sorry. I've done this so many times, it starts to get rather boring and repetitive. He pours himself quite a large brandy and gestures to the various drinks. And if you point out the drink that you like, he pours it for you and places it into your hand and says, each of your hands if you ask for a drink. And so he'll start with Glory, and he picks up the whatever it is that Glory drinks and places it into her hand, and he says, "Let's do it this way. Ambassador Glory Tezcacotl of Scalry." Thank
Yes.
you. Kate, does Cora take a drink?
Yeah. Cora will take a drink.
Okay. He takes it and says, "Cora, yours now." And he looks you head to toe. Doesn't he's too well practiced at not reacting, but you could tell he was not reacting, if you get me. He looks you up and down and goes, "A free time. Thank you." Farewell.
Do we get the impression that he's
You take a
like
drink?
using a spell to do this? He's not being
no.
prompted by anyone, but he didn't know who we were when we walked in.
Yeah, a bit of a weird thing.
Yeah.
He kind of asked who you were, but then he was just like, "Oh, right, it's these people."
Okay.
You have a feeling it was more of a case of he didn't know who was next rather than who you were.
I get that.
So when he
but-
saw you at a distance, he was like, "Who are these guys now?" Oh, it's them, right? Okay,
Oh,
fine,
it's these
fine, yeah.
ones. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Mental-
because
open
he
the
has
door, all the names, all the things I'm supposed to remember.
he's a politician. He's proficient in name recall, so if Farewell takes one,
Farewell declines politely.
he says, "Of course, Father Farewell, Farewell Barebones, I believe."
There's a very
Oh.
visible twitch.
Father.
All the same.
He doesn't say anything, but you can just see that like side of his face sort of just visibly just sort of like bunches up for us before he sort of goes back.
When you decline, he says, "All the same, Father Farewell Barebones, thank you. And for yourself, my tabaxi friend?"
Yes, please.
He hands you the drink of your choice and says, "Eclipse of the moon."
Simon's frozen. Oh shit, everyone's frozen. What happened to my Discord? I've lost everybody. Right, I'm changing from Brazil. Give me a moment, people. We'll bring them back. There we go. What the hell happened?
Yay.
Everyone froze. I was like, Simon's frozen, and then I saw that everybody had frozen. I was like, they've left me.
Well, according to Discord, Simon's offline for some reason.
Oh.
But yeah,
There's
Well, he's
Yeah, I can
always
hear you.
offline for me,
Yeah,
so
just
that
generally
I think you've
offline.
listed yourself on invisible. so
Oh,
we can't
yes,
see
there's a
you.
reason for that, and that is I use Discord for work sometimes.
fair enough.
So I make it so that they can't see what my computer's doing.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Just
get
in
you.
case I left Civ on in the background. Anyway,
Yeah.
no,
Simon is currently
so-
playing this game, not doing his work.
makes it awkward for meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was really.
he says, please, take a seat. I've had so many of these formal get-togethers, and just, it's so annoying. And
Has he
here we are.
changed?
We have-
Is he still quite messy?
oh, he's still quite messy. Yeah, yeah. He's still got like sweat marks on his shirt. He's got dust on his trews. He patted it away, but it kind of just moved the dust around. And he
He's
says,
like being reduced.
take a seat. Take a seat. And he sits down, and he kind of sits in a very, very stereotypical masculine way, and actually slings one leg over the arm of the chair.
It's
And
Riker.
says, yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Oh god, he's got the
done
Riker lean. Kill him now! Kill him now!
Not so much. He kind of sits back, and the leg goes up over the arm of the chair, and he says, "First course when you're ready, please, Carland." And this butler comes in and says, "Of course, Your Grace," and steps back behind the partition. He says, "So, we're going to have some lovely food and drink here. But mostly I would like to thank you personally. I've downplayed your part in this, as I was asked to, the part of saving the city. But I do know that you were pivotal. If those doors hadn't opened, if Freetown hadn't come spilling in, well, it would have been curtains for all of us. I don't mind saying so. Now, I have been told that some people wanted to be more anonymous, and Renata thought that you were amongst their number, so I kept the party line. Thanked, of course, yourselves, but also of the people of the city, Freetown in particular, for coming to our aid, for joining together, for being through this together, with something that shouldn't have bloody happened in the first place. Pardon my language. I am somewhat of a
quite
proud man. I'm somewhat of a proud man, but I'm willing to admit that we dropped the damn ball. That's what we did. Dropped the damn ball with regard to what we should have done and what we shouldn't have done. I see that now. And you were here to make sure that my mistake wasn't my last one. I consider that a personal boon, and one that I shall repay sometime. You've been given status within the city. Renata tells me that I do not have to give you any form of property, that you already have a place that you call home. Quite a successful one, from what I hear. It's that lovely tavern off the main square, isn't it? The hall
yes.
itself.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you're quite well to do, and I don't need to reward those who are already quite well to do, but I am in your debt. If you ever find that there is something that I need to do in order to repay that debt, do not feel hesitant in coming towards me. I will not consider it to be an affront.
Well noted, Edmund.
Tell me,
Privileged.
how did you find yourself coming to the gates? I was told that you were following various threads about this, investigating on Renata's behalf. But then, of course, you started taking matters into your own hands. I was told that you did some heroic improvisation.
Yes, it was the
How?
most opportune way to increase not only our numbers, but as we had already figured out their weakness to individuality, it was quite, well, profitable to include so many more as they started to see the town as, well,
Certainly changing how I'm training my troops. My troops will all be taught in the basic combat, certainly. But we have people amongst my battalions who are from a number of different backgrounds. Some of them are in the forces to pay off the debt to society. Previously, tavern brawlers and the like. So we're starting to embrace things that people may have brought in as assets that we may not have seen as assets before. I want to be ready for when the blackguard comes again.
How much have you been told that what we did? What?
You were investigators for the Green Organization. You investigated into the source of the well, what was going on with our bloody research facility. It should never have greenlighted that. And then yes, you followed the trail here, saw that there was going to be some sort of cataclysm as a part of our stupidity, and you arrived just in the nick of to be able to turn the tide, whilst the Green Organization as a whole was defending their various holdings and streets and neighborhoods that they're responsible for, as did the other factions within the city. You took it upon yourselves to let in our cousins in Freetown to have them join the fight, and they had the stuff that was needed to save the day. After that, we learned quickly. We learned quickly.
Yes. What?
it's good to know you've been included in all the details.
Well, I should imagine I haven't had some of the stories of your daring do, but I haven't. I'm afraid I haven't had the full rundown of your leading up to it. But I know what you did during the siege, and I have a rough idea that you were doing some investigation stuff in the countryside before that.
There's not much
Yes.
to tell, really.
Oh no,
Yes.
sure you're being
Ooh.
humble.
Some property damage. We cost him some property damage.
It was very quick and very matter of fact. You know, once all the fighting starts and the lives are on the line, you just sort of go into automatic. There's not a whole lot of thinking or recalling.
Yes. Once battle is joined, it's very coldly a sense of numbers. I may be good at warfare, if I grant myself a boast, but I've never liked it. I think that's kind of what you need to be a good tactician. You have to know that what you're doing is never going to turn out well. That victory is not victory. It's that you have concluded failure as a politician.
Wise words. Unfortunately, I don't think traditional means of, well, diplomacy would work with such an adversary. But it is comforting to know that you're expanding the city's defenses in the wake of this tragedy.
Yes. And we're going back to tried and tested means. The mettle of the individual, artifice, common arcana, and doing well with the gods. I myself have to be somewhat of a penitent for listening to the idiots who said that our projects would not come with such prices. But I'm sure we can talk more on that. It's about the many courses. A bunch of beautiful starting courses, meats, cheeses, olives, breads, are placed before you. And he says, please, we have all the time in the world to talk.
Please.
And yes, as the cat gets starry-eyed over the cheese, we have reached 11 o'clock. So we are stopping our game here. My God, that turned up quick. So big thank you to Kate, Felicia, Nick, and Corinne for their story today, and for all of you watching at home. If you enjoyed our particular brand of chaos, please check out our Discord link below, or follow us to find out about our other broadcasts. Our next broadcast is on Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK time, where Corinne, Felicia, Paul, and Ed will be playing Star Wars Legends of the Sprawl. And we will see you there. Anything from the players?
I was just wondering if we wanted to raid. I think something's about to start on Encounter, and I didn't know if we wanted
I would like
to.
to question the fact that the cat was interested in the cheese and probably not the plates of sashimi that was coming out.
Thank you.
I'm sure the sashimi would have been on there as well. Yes. So
Let's raid somebody.
I like the idea.
There's not many of us, but why not? To be honest,
Why not?
Like, I don't see a
Yeah,
reason
we've got 7
to
viewers.
not.
Why not?
So yeah. So okay. Now I've got to remember how to do it.
I keep forgetting I got to push to talk. All the subscribers, when we raid, please use our little emote of Flory Love.
Oh yeah,
Or what
absolutely.
about-
Yes,
Let's
drop
do
our
that.
emotes. We love our emotes.
Thank you. I worked very hard on them.
Yes, and they're very good. I like them. I must admit, I hadn't seen the until we moved them all around recently. I hadn't seen the Iden one. So yeah.
Really? Because that one's been in the Discord for like forever.
I know I'm a bad person. I'd forgotten.
I haven't
It's
seen
fine.
them all, to be honest. I don't think. Oh yeah, no. Right. Okay. So we're gonna go raid Encounter. Hopefully I'm not wrong in this. I think Haunting of Seawall Orphanage is about to start rather than is just finished. So I hope that's true. I think this is a
Either
little
way,
one-shot
we'll
horror.
notice once it happens.
Who knows? But anyway,
Let's go.
so we'll head to our time for a long rest thing and credits, and we'll then head over.